ora everyone, tēnā koutou katoa, and welcome to this special edition of Dargaville Public Library News, beaming to you from my very own spare bedroom, as is the case for many people working from home these days. So I'm Helen Clark, and we have a very exciting bulletin for you tonight, folks. We'll be covering events that unfolded here in Dargaville recently, with Flit the Fantail's discovery of 8 mysterious eggs. Flit will be no stranger to many of you. He's world famous in New Zealand as the star of the Flying Flop, but it's his discovery of these mysterious eggs that has him in the news more recently. We'll be going out live to our reporter in the field, Robin Duckworth, and we understand that she's managed to track down Flit and wise old Ruru themselves. Now, Ruru, of course, was very instrumental in breaking this case wide open and helping to solve the mystery of the egg. So it'll be very interesting to hear directly from him how events unfolded from their point of view. Very exciting indeed. And if that's not exciting enough, we've got Quinn, who has turned Flit's adventures into another best-selling picture book. Now, Kat has very kindly agreed to do a live reading of the book, putting her very own voice to her beautiful illustrations. And the bulletin wouldn't be complete without a reading of the Te Reo Māori version of this lovely book. So we have a very special guest lined up later in the evening with Jay in the studio to read the Te Reo Māori version for us. We're very excited about this. Jay, I'll leave it to Jay to tell you who that special guest is a little later on. And finally, we're going to round the evening out with a question and answer session with some of our avid junior readers. And they're going to tell us what their thoughts are and what their take is on Flit's latest adventures. So get comfy, kids. We're going to be patching Kat through from her studio to our studio. Oh, all these studios, all this patching. It's all very modern, isn't it? It's how we do it now. So patching in studios coming up right after this short commercial break. Oh, hi kids. Have you heard about these cool places called libraries? They're amazing. They're full of free books and free cool things to do. So whether you're just getting started on your reading journey or whether you're a regular reader already, there's loads of books for everyone. They've got things about like adventure stories, mysteries, how to train your penguin, science, funny stuff, faraway lands, planets, made-up worlds and creatures, craft books, books on projects, how to build things. It's all at your local library. You've just got to go on in and check it out. Check it out. Did you see what I did there? Check it out. You know, like take the book out. You know, you following? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone, and we hope you enjoyed that short commercial break with Penelope Penguin. It just goes to show that owls aren't the only birds that are wise, isn't it? I mean, I thought Penelope had some very wise things to say there in that commercial break. So, anywho, we are about to switch over to the studio with Jay Swansong. Jay, any word on when Kat will be joining you this evening?
Oh, look, thanks for that, Helen. Due to the wonders of modern technology, we have Kat Quinn waiting in the wings. And we've also been able to pull Robin Swansong in from our reporter in the field. She's made a surprise visit into the studio today, so we're actually going to get her to interview Kat a little later in the bulletin. But welcome, Kat, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Kia ora, thanks for having me.
Wow, yeah, we're really excited. Look, we've got some questions lined up for you a little later in the piece, but let's face it, the main event is this beautiful book that you've written and illustrated. So we're thinking that we'd just like to jump straight on into the storytelling, and then perhaps we can follow up with some questions, if that's all right. How does that sound?
Awesome, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so thank you, Kat. And ladies and gentlemen, we give you Kat Quinn reading Flit the Fantail and the Mystery Eggs.
Flit the Fantail and the Mystery Eggs. It is a misty morning in the forest. Flit the fantail chick is practicing his landings. Flat, flop, slip, flip. Flit slips on something slippery and round. He stumbled upon 8 rubbery white eggs. He remembers the shell that he hatched from a few weeks ago. These are not fantail eggs. My eggs had a hard shell, says Flit. Flit thinks they must have fallen from a nest. Whose eggs are these? He wonders. Flit hears Kiki the kaka squawking her sunrise song. Are these kaka eggs? Flit asks Kiki. They are not kaka eggs. My egg was white, but it was much bigger than these, says Kiki. So whose eggs are these? Wonders Flit. Flit spots Bit and Bob. The rascally robins are foraging for food in nearby fallen leaves. Are these black robin eggs? Flit calls to them. They are not robin eggs, says Bit. Our eggs were cream with brown spots, chirps Bob. So whose eggs are these? Wonders Flit. Flit hears the sleepy snoring sound of Kerry the kiwi. He pops his head into the burrow and asks, are these kiwi eggs? Maybe, yawns Kerry. Do they look like this? She rolls an enormous egg out of the burrow. They are not kiwi eggs, giggle the birds. The kiwi egg is so huge that all of the mystery eggs would fit inside it. So whose eggs are these? Flit frets. The friends try to guess what kind of bird the eggs come from. Hoiho lay eggs near the salty seashore. Takahe eggs are speckled with spotty dots. Falcon eggs are round and rusty brown. Tui eggs are hidden high in the treetops. Then whose eggs are these? Sobs Flit. Wise old Ruru can hear the commotion. Not all eggs come from birds, you know. These eggs come from a creature that has been around for 200 million years. Dinosaur eggs, shout Flit and his friends, feeling frightened. Do you think they're dinosaur eggs? Shake, quake, split. The eggs are beginning to hatch. One by one, tiny tuatara tots break out of their eggs. Whose hatchlings are these? The friends wonder. Can you see anything in the background there? They search everywhere for the parents, under leaves and logs, in the soggy swamp, up the towering tree, over wrinkly rata roots, and around the rugged rock. Where could the mother be? Can you see? The rock wriggles, the rock blinks, the rock speaks. Thank you for helping my babies find me, says Ma Tuatara. The tiny Tuatara tots join their mother basking in the sun. Flit and his feathery friends have saved the day. Feeling happy, Flit flaps off to practice his landings. Flit, float, stick. Flit finds hundreds of tiny round eggs. Uh-oh. Whose eggs are these? Wonders Flit. That's the end.
Oh, look, thanks, Kat. That was a real treat. And obviously, I think leaving the ending wide open for a bit of a sequel there.
Yeah, definitely.
With that cliffhanger. That's what we call a cliffhanger, kids. So thank you so much for that. And now that the audience has heard the story and seen the lovely illustrations and they know what's what, we've got time for a few short questions about the book, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So I'm going to hand you over to Robin Duckworthy here, our interviewer who's been out and interviewed Flit and Hoodoo when she hunted them down in Dargaville Township recently. So it's only fitting that she has a chat with you now, Kat. So I'll hand over, Robin.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Robin.
Yes, I'm Robin Duckworthy, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions. So what inspired you to start writing about Flit and the story in particular?
The very first story, I've actually got it here, so I'll just show, was Flit the Fantail and the Flying Flop. So this one was inspired, I'd been approached by Scholastic to do a series, and they wanted me to focus on a native New Zealand bird, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. I'd done my own series of Kui the Kiwi, so I didn't want to focus on Kiwi again. So I went down kind of the conceptual path, which sometimes means having a big long drive or having a bushwalk. So my family and I went for a bushwalk, and we had a little fantail that just followed us around as we're walking through. So, and it was flitting and flopping and behaving really joyously in front of us. So it was a bit of a sign, I think, that was our character. And I also have young children who kind of have some of these challenges as well with trying to be resilient and learning to work together and that kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you for that insight. It's very good. Now, we saw the finished pictures during the book reading, but obviously there is a lot of work that goes on creating those illustrations. And the earlier versions give us a glimpse into how the drawings develop. Before we go to our next question, we'd like to show the audience some of your earlier working drawings.
So this one here is one of the very first early concepts of the book cover. So sometimes we work through quite a few to get to the final concept. And these are some really early thumbnails. So these are only very small. So literally about the size of your thumbnail. If you've got a large thumbnail, it's kind of a matchbox size illustration. So just to get the layout of the page right, and where our text is going, the little white spaces in there. And so that's the same kind of working out how our story flows, where we've got full colour pages and where we've got white backgrounds that give us a bit of a breathing space when we're reading. And this one here, you can see in the background hiding the tuatara within the rocks. So she actually appears in almost all of the forest pictures. So kind of working out that hidden little gem for the kids to find. And this one here is a more final cover. So this is what I sent to Scholastic as my concept for the book cover. So if you stand it side by side, the only thing that changed is I added an extra egg in there.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Gorgeous work.
Thank you.
So now we've seen how some of those pictures developed. Can you tell us what comes first, the picture or the words?
It's a little bit of everything for me. I'm a real visual person, so I have the advantage of writing and illustrating the book, which is kind of, it's lucky. I'm really lucky to be able to do that. Because it does mean that I can work on those simultaneously. In the past, when I've worked with other authors, they have the story already for me, they give it to me, and then I'm coming up with the pictures. And I think sometimes there can be a little disconnect there because I'm not talking to the author every day, and I'm also not living in their brain, so I can't see what they've seen in their imagination. So with Flit, I really thought of the whole story, so not as a kind of written story, but kind of like a movie. So the idea and the concept and the story from beginning to end was all there. Once I had that kind of mapped out in those thumbnail format, I worked through the story to get it, because you've also got to fit it into a nice storybook format, which is usually 32 pages of text. So there's a few tricky things you've got to do. So once I've got those thumbnails kind of mapped out, so kind of like what Peter Jackson would do when he's doing a movie, I then add the text to that and kind of perfect that and send that off to Scholastic to read. And we've got amazing editors that work with us as well. And so they edit the text and send it back to me for final, and then also for translations. Scholastic comes to me with the Te Reo Māori text translated by Ngāti Roberts. And so that one for Flit, the Fantail and the Mystery Eggs is Ko Flit Te Tīrairaka me ngā Hēki Muna. And that one came to me. I got to read it in Te Reo, which I have very small amount of comprehension, but it just flows really beautifully. So Ngāti always does the most amazing job. And then I fit that text into the illustration. So sometimes the Te Reo Māori text is a little bit longer, so that can change the way we lay out the pages as well.
Oh, thank you for that. Now, what are the main messages you hope kids will take away from the story?
I think I mentioned it before, but it was kind of based on my children and the things that I was teaching them at the time. That a few of them had started school, so we actually we've got 6 children together, my partner and I. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 and 17. So as a group we've got lots of lessons happening all the time. So this one was resilience, working together as a team and kind of for a common goal, and then also problem solving. So they're probably quite common themes in books, but the resilience one I think is the one that really is strongly in there. My kids get together and really problem solve and work. We don't always give them the answer. They need to go and work it out and come back to us once they've worked it out. And a lot of the stuff that's in there is kind of inspired by what my kids do outside, working together, building a fort, or a kaka catapult as one of them was.
Oh, thank you so much for giving us that answer. What was your favourite book as a kid?
I really loved, there's a few favourites, but The Lorax by Dr. Zeus. So I really loved, I didn't realise at the time, I think I loved the illustrations, I loved the colour, but the environmental theme of it I think was really pretty strong back then, in the 80s, so I'm an 80s baby. And that kind of looking after our environment was really important to my family. So yeah, that one was a real favourite. And then there's another little random one, so called The Diggingest Dog. So that was one of my all-time favourites as a kid as well.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I've got a couple more questions left. What advice would you give kids out there who want to write books? I don't feel like I'm the best to give any advice because I'm still learning, and that's probably my advice is you will just learn more and more every day. So the main thing I say is practice, make mistakes, experiment. So sometimes you get the wildest, craziest story in your head, and if you put it out on paper, write it down so that you've got it there, sometimes that turns into your gem of an idea. And I think, yeah, it's just really reading as much as possible. So read, and read again. We encourage our kids to read, go to the library, get out books as much as possible, and also to challenge themselves to try a new book that they might not think that they'll like. So kind of working on different genres and that kind of thing. You might love books about cats or murder mysteries, but changing it up and reading about even a war story or history, non-fiction books. So yeah, read and practice, and don't be a perfectionist. And can we expect more Flit books in the future?
You sure can. I'm not 100% sure how much I'm allowed to say, but there's definitely a few books up our sleeves. So one's written and has been translated already, and it's due out around this time next year. So you may be able to guess what it's about, but it's about a really special time of year here in Aotearoa.
Wow.
At the Māori New Year Matariki. So that will be our next little adventure.
Hey, that is fantastic stuff. Thank you, Kat, and some really great advice for kids. I love that. I hope that what the kids watching are going to take away is, a walk in the bush can inspire a series of books, and, the whole mahi-tahi, work together, teamwork, resilience, and, some really great tips from you there. Thank you very much. And we really look forward to your next instalment.
Thank you.
Yes, look very forward to that. So, Helen, I'll hand back over to you now. I understand you have our roving reporter in the field who has managed to catch up with Flit and Ruru. Is that correct?
Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Kat, for that wonderful reading. So great to have you here live, and we really appreciate your wonderful reading of the book. Thank you again. Now, Jay, just coming back to your question, I can confirm that Robin Duckworth was in Dargaville this morning, and she did, in fact, locate Flit and Ruru. She had heard they were in the area, and she's quite the investigator, not just an intrepid reporter, but an investigator as well, and tracked them down in no time flat. And so she asked them a few questions about the discovery of the mystery eggs, and here's how things unfolded this morning.
Kia ora, I'm Robin Duckworthy, reporting from Dargaville, reporting for DPL News, where this morning I've managed to catch up with Flit the Fantail and wise old Ruru. We've all heard by now how Flit discovered 8 mysterious eggs while he was practicing his landings. And now we can hear from Flit himself how exactly events unfolded and how he discovered who the eggs belonged to. Flit, thank you for agreeing to speak with me today. So why did you immediately think that they were birds' eggs?
Well, they were smallish, white and oval, and I've not long come out of an egg myself, so I just naturally assumed that they must have come from some sort of bird.
Were you ever worried that you wouldn't find who the eggs belonged to?
No, not really. I knew my friends in the bush would help. We're good at mahi-tahi around here. Teamwork. Yeah, we know if we help each other, things get done around this place.
So when Ruru suggested that the eggs might be from a creature over 200 million years old, how scared were you?
To be honest, I was pretty freaked out. But then I thought about all the other creatures it could possibly be. And I was just excited to see them hatch after that.
And now that they've hatched, does Mātuatara let you hang out with them much?
Well, Mātuatara is like everyone's second mum. We spend a lot of time with her and her father. She makes the best bug snacks ever.
Thanks for those insights, Flit. Now, Ruru, you were the one that really cracked this case wide open. Sorry for the pun. And what were your initial thoughts when you're listening to Flit and his friends trying to work out who the eggs belonged to?
Thought these young whippersnappers were working well together to solve the mystery. So stuck on this idea of them being birds' eggs, it was a little frustrating. I realized, hey, cut them some slack. They're probably too young to have seen eggs from other creatures, so how would they know?
That's very true. Not everyone is as old and as wise as you, Ruru. It must feel good passing on knowledge to the younger generation.
Well, yes, it was. I was very glad to have been a part of solving the mystery. And now we can all sleep a little better, knowing they're in a safe place.
Yes, such a relief for us who are following the story from home. And thank you very much for agreeing to speak with me today. I know the viewers at home were really excited to hear from you.
Oh, bit of a technical glitch at the end there, but this is what happens with all this modern technology. Sometimes it just gets a bit, I don't know, glitchy. I guess that's why they call it a glitch. But look, Robin, great stuff, great reporting, thank you. And thank you to Flit and Ruru for your very informative interviews there. Now, we're going back to the studio now, as I understand it, back to Jay. She's got a very special guest there who's going to read the Te Reo Māori version of Flit, the Fantail, and the Mystery Eggs. So, Jay, who have you got there with you now?
Thank you, Helen and Robin. As Helen said, it's great to hear from Flit and Ruru about this adventure. And what's also great is that this book is available in Te Reo Māori. Today we're lucky enough to have Frances Toko here to read this version of the book for us. So thank you so much for coming along today, Frances. We're very honoured to have you here. And yes, I'm going to hand over to you now.
Just before we read this book, I just want to mihi to yourself, Kat.
Thank you.
The mahi that's gone into this book, but also sharing and celebrating, and for us here, it's also about acknowledging the partnership. So having books available not just in English, but also in Te Reo Māori is one that we celebrate today. So thank you very much for your mahi.
Kia ora, thank you.
Okay. Ko Flit te Tīrairaka me ngā Hēki muna. Ko Flit te Tīrairaka me ngā Hēki muna. Ko te ngahere I te porehu I te atanei. I reira a Flit te pēpi Tīrairaka e ako unga ana. Ka papaki, ka taka, ka mānia, ka porotaka. I mānia a Flit I runga I tētahi mea māniania, tētahi mea porotaka. I tūpono aia ki tētahi hēki etahi hēki, e waru ngā hēki, mā ngā hēki, inarapa te āhua. Ka hoki o nā mahara ki ngā wiki kua hōri, ā ki tōna ake anga. Ka ki a Flit e hara ke ēnei I te hēki Tīrairaka. He māro ke te anga o tōku hēki. I whakaaro a Flit te rāpia, kua taka mai I tētahi kohanga. I āta whakaaro aro nā waira ngā hēki nei. Ka rongo a Flit I a kiki te kāka. Ka tangi ka kawa ana I tōna waiata o te ata. Ka pātai atu, he hēki kāka anō ēnei. E hara ke ēnā I te hēki kāka. He mā te tai o tōku hēki, engari he kai tā ake I ēnei, te ki I a kiki. Ka tau te a Flit, nā reira, nā wai ke ēnei hēki. Ka kitea atu a Flit a bit rawa ko bau. E kimi kai ana te toko rua nanakia nei. Ka karanga atu. Nā te karuwai anō ngā hēki nei. E hara ēnā I te hēki karuwai. Te ki a bit. Ka pēki mai ko Bob. He āhua mānei o mātou nei hēki, me ōna koroiraira pākaka. Ka whakaroaro a Flit, nā reira, nā wai ke ēnei hēki. Ka rongo a Flit I a kēri kiwi ma te moe, e ngongoro ana. Ka wirohia atu tōna māhunga. Ki roto ki te tūrua, ka pātai atu. He hēki kiwi anō ēnei. Ka tūwaharua a kēri ka ki te rāpia. Ka panaia atu tētahi hēki kai tānei ki waho I te tūrua. Ā, ka pātai atu. He pēnei anō te āhua. Ka tītohe ngā manu me te ki, e hara ke e ngā hēki kiwi. Ka uru katoa ngā hēki nā, ki roto ki te hēki kiwi, ko tahi, te kaha kai tā. Ka ani pā a Flit, ka ki nā wai ke nei hēki. Ka huri ngā hoa ki te whakaro noa mo te momo manu, nona ngā hēki nei. Whakawhānau aia a hoiho i ona hēki i tātahi. He ko tino ngā hēki a takahe. He kākata te tai o ngā hēki a kārearea. Kei runga rawa ngā rākau e hunana ngā hēki a tūi. Ka hotu a Flit me te pātai kāti, nā waira ke nei hēki. Ka rongo te manu mātau arā aruru i te āheihei. Ko tāna e hara i te mea ko te manu anake e whakawhānau hēki ana. Ko ēnei hēki nā tētahi kaiora kua noho i te ao nei mo te 200 miriona tau te roa. Ka tūmeke a Flit rātau ko ōna hoa. Ka umere. He hēki mokoweri. Ka ruru, ka ngā ruerue, ka titore, ka timata ngā hēki ki te paupau. Ka puta takitahi mai ko ngā pēpi tuatara. Ka whakaroaro ngā hoa nā waira nei pēpi paupau. Ka huri rātau ki te rapu i ngā mātua. I tiro haere i raro i ngā rau, i raro i ngā poro rākau, ki roa repo kueo, ki runga o te rākau teitei, ki runga i ngā aka kurehe o te rāta, huri noa i ngā toka torohape. Kai hea rā te kōka, kai te kite atu e koe, kai hea te kōka. Ka korikori tētahi toka, ka kimo, ka kōrero. Ka ki te kōka tuatara, tēnā koutou i haere mai nei. Te kimi mai i au, me te mau mai i oku pēpi. Ka tūhono atu ngā pēpi tuatara ki te kōka i aia e pā ina ana i te rā. Ko tūtuki pai te mahi a ngā hoani. E hari ana a Flit i aia e papaki ana ki te ako unga anō. Ka rērere, ka kārewa, ka taka, ka pere. Ka tahi ka kitea atu e Flit e hia rua nei ngā hēki iti, ngā hēki porotaka. Au e taukuri e. Ka whakaroaro anō a Flit, nā waira nei hēki. Kua mutu, tēnā koutou katoa.
Kia ora, that was beautiful.
It really was. I mean, if we loved the book before, we love it even more after hearing it in Te Reo, I think. It's just something special to be gained from hearing it in Te Reo Māori, I think. So thank you so much, Francis. We hope you enjoyed that in spite of your nerves. So we're going to hand back over to Helen now. I think we've got one more treat in store before we're a wrap, Helen. Is that right?
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Francis, for that beautiful reading in Te Reo Māori. I mean, if we, as Jay said, if we loved the book before, we love it even more now that we've heard that beautiful version of it. So thank you again. Now, we thought the show wouldn't be complete without a question and answer session with some of our most avid readers. at the library. So for our final section, Robin caught up with a couple of junior members at the library this afternoon, and here's what they had to say about Flit the Fantail and the mystery eggs.
Kia ora, my name is Robin Duckworth and I'm here today with Taylor and Jake, who have agreed to be a part of our expert panel today. Hi kids, thank you for joining us. So by now you've read Flit the Fantail and we'd love to hear your thoughts on a few things about the book and characters. So let's start with you, Taylor. Who was your favourite character in the book?
I think I like the Tui and the Kiwi.
Very good, okay. Who did you think the eggs might belong to when Flit first found them?
Tīrairaka.
Did you? Oh, very smart. Now, what was your favourite picture or drawing in the book?
I like the drawing of the Tīrairaka.
Did you? It was a good drawing, though, eh? Now, did you learn anything from reading the book?
I learned that the Tīrairaka eggs are smaller than our native bird eggs.
Oh, yes, because all eggs come in different sizes and colours. Very good, Taylor. And Jake, what did you think? Who was your favourite character in the book?
I'll say the Kiwi.
Oh, the kiwi. Very good. And who did you think the eggs might belong to when Flit first found them?
Tīrairaka, because you can see him in the distance in almost every page.
Could you? Wow. I couldn't see him, but you must have a good eye. Now, what was your favourite picture or drawing in the book?
I'll say the second and to last one because he got stuck in the spider web.
Ah, isn't that funny? And did you like the spiders as well, did you?
There weren't any spiders in it, so so this is what he looked like.
Ah, that is very funny, isn't it? He's stuck in the spider web. Now, did you learn something from reading the book?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jake. Well, thanks very much for sharing those thoughts with us today. We really appreciate your time, and now we'll hand it over back to Helen to wind things up.
How smart were those kids? I mean, I've read that book several times and completely missed Mātuatara sunning herself on that rock in several pages. So I'm very impressed with those children and the fact that they spotted that tuatara right early on in the book. Hats off to them. So look, we're going to wrap things up now, kids. We hope you've really enjoyed all the storytelling and getting to meet Flit and Ruru and getting to meet Kat, who's done such a fantastic job of putting this story into beautiful pictures and words. And we'd just like to challenge you to go out and have a good look around, nature and the bush, and see what you can observe and where there might be inspiration for you to write your own book. So thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.